Hello.
There he is.
Dr. Ids, the legendary. Woo! Dr. Ids.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doctor, are you
Thanks.
on Big Soda's payroll or something? What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, apparently I am being paid. I've not seen any money yet, which is quite unfortunate. But yeah, if they could sponsor me, that'd be good. Diet Coke.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So tell me about your background. We were trying to figure it out. You're in the UK, by the way. Thanks for calling in with the time zone difference there. But maybe you can explain. You're a MBBS and an MRES.
Yes. So the MBBS degree, traditionally, it was actually two separate degrees. So it stands for a Bachelor of Medicine and a Bachelor of Surgery. So what they've done is they've combined that into one medical degree, which is essentially the international equivalent of what you guys know as an MD.
Okay. Okay.
So I am a qualified medical doctor working in hospitals. But then I also took time out in between my degree to get an additional master's degree in nutritional research alongside medicine.
And so is that where your kind of expertise comes from? Because you're always citing like, studies and sources. You seem to have a lot of really intimate knowledge of a lot of this stuff. Does that come from your the MRES?
Yeah. So the MRes is basically the cherry on top. In medical school, there is a heavy emphasis on critiquing and analyzing research papers. But then the MRes allowed me to basically focus on what I was passionate about. So I did the entire year on nutritional research specifically. I conducted my own research study, and that was really where kind of things came together. And that's why you see me talk about research all the time, basically.
And what was your interest there? What was your specialization?
During the masters, you mean? Or
yeah, well, you said during the research you were able to hone in on your interests.
Yeah. So actually, the research study that I conducted during the year of my masters was actually on the link between depression and refined sugar intake.
Oh,
so how diet affects mental health.
And what did you find, in short?
So I'm going to publish the study soon, but I will tell you what the results showed. So basically, simplifying it down, so refined sugar are things taken out of natural sources and put into products, cakes, biscuits, candy, drinks, whatever, right? And for every 100 grams of refined sugar intake you consume per day, that increases your risk of having a mild to moderate depression by about 40%.
Really? You found that link?
Yeah, so that's per 100 grams. So obviously, most people in the West, they would consume more than 100 grams. 100 grams is not that a lot. Yeah, exactly. And
100 grams what? In what time interval?
So 100 grams of refined sugar across the day on average.
Okay.
On average. And then obviously that goes up again when it's 200, that goes up again when it's 300, and so on. So yeah, very interesting.
Whoa, man, that's going to be huge. So what happens now? It goes to like a journal to get peer reviewed?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when I'm a bit less busy, hopefully in a couple months, I'll basically put it towards different journals, maybe psychiatric or nutritional journals. And then they have a peer review process. They then tell me if they want me to amend anything. And then, yeah, hopefully it gets accepted.
And then, so is that why you find yourself commenting on Diet Cokes? Because one of the myths that you hear about it is like, they're both just as bad, or in some cases they say diet is even worse than that shit because it's like artificial. So
yeah, so it's a very interesting topic because I have no idea where people get the notion that a artificially sweetened drink is worse than the full refined sugar version. I have no idea where that's come from. Most likely headlines of poorly done animal studies, rat studies, where they're injecting ridiculous dosages of the sweetener into the rat. And then you wonder why it causes issues, right? But the thing is, you have to understand that when you replace the full sugar drink, which a lot of people like consuming, I used to love consuming full sugar drinks. So do a lot of people. When you replace those excess calories going to a 0-calorie drink, the amount of benefits you get just from that substitution is massive. as long as you're not, finding other ways, compensating with just because you're not having that sugar kick, then you find yourself, having 3 extra biscuits and 1 extra cake a day, for example.
Right.
Obviously, the benefit of the sweetener is that it should dampen down that sweet craving that you're experiencing, so you don't feel the need to replace those extra calories with something else. So that's what we see. Yeah.
That's very interesting to hear, because I think it's like widely held belief that Diet Coke is not better. And actually, I think one of the widely held beliefs that I hear is that actually Diet Coke will make you more healthy, or people who drink Diet Coke are actually gain more weight than the people who drink Coke.
Yeah, that's based on rubbish association science. We literally have a new of 17 human controlled studies, which means that the researchers know exactly what the participants are doing. They know how much they're consuming. Of 17 individual studies showing that when you replace the full sugar version with artificially sweetened drinks, they lose more weight than if you replace the sugar with water. So going from sugar to water, you don't lose as much weight going from sugar to sweetened drinks.
Wow. That's kind of groundbreaking.
Yeah, no, it is, because when you dampen down that sweet craving from the sugar, you're less likely to find.
You're breaking up. We got you back. You just broke up for a minute. No, all good.
Sorry, yeah, I was saying, if you go from sugar to water, then a lot of people try to compensate with other sweet foods and beverages.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main benefit from the artificially sweetened drinks.
Now, what would you say? So, like someone like me, I don't ever drink sugared soda, and recently I just picked up Diet Coke. So I didn't have like a normal Coke dependence. I just added the Diet Coke to my diet. In that case, what's your opinion about that? When it's not replacing, it's just coming into the equation.
Well, so how much kind of full sugar drink did you used to consume on a weekly basis, roughly?
I didn't really drink sugar drinks really ever.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So in that case, it can still easily have indirect effects because of the fact that you're sipping on something sweet and it's satisfying to you throughout the day. So you might see indirect effects through your normal dietary habits anyway. Perhaps you're snacking less. Perhaps you're less likely to find a nice sweet or chocolate or biscuit or whatever. I wouldn't say there are any inherent benefits. Like it won't, in and of itself, it won't improve your health necessarily. Indirect way, it can definitely help.
Yeah, I was wondering more like the downside, because people, the common knowledge, once again, quote unquote, is that it's bad for you. So adding it to your diet, even replacing nothing, in your opinion, has no downside?
Okay, so we need to be specific about what we mean by downside, because in the scientific literature, you need to understand that you can't formulate an opinion based on one research study, whether it's observational, controlled, whatever. You need to look at the total body of evidence and then formulate a scientific opinion based on lots of different observations, right? So I can confirm that at the current moment, with the body of evidence that we have, there doesn't seem to be any negative effects from most of the artificial sweeteners when it comes to cancer risk, when it comes to glucose, glycemic management for diabetics, when it comes to blood lipids, when it comes to gut health. And the evidence is just not strong enough. It's just nowhere near strong enough. And we have lots of studies showing a null hypothesis, meaning no result. So it causes no effects.
That's just a game changer. I think that changes everything. What do you guys think about this? Because I was trying to preach the gospel the other week, and I says, listen, guys, I saw this great doctor, Dr. Ids, and he said go for it. And and then everyone was like, bro, you're crazy. Yeah, but here we go.
Ethan's definitely doing.
Call him a liar to his face, Dan.
Nobody at any point called him a liar. Okay. What I actually do have a question though. So I also kind of remember when all of these fear mongering about aspartame and artificial sweeteners started. It may have started earlier than this, but I came into knowledge of it. I feel like in maybe the late '90s or early 2000s is when I started to like hear a lot about that. What was the basis of that then? Was it not to get conspiratorial, but was the sugar industry trying to kill sweeteners and sugar replacements?
So the basis usually stems from rodent studies. So these are studies on rats where you give them or inject them ridiculous dosages of an artificially sweetened component, whether it's aspartame, acetylsulfame, potassium. And they find that the rat eventually starts to grow a tumor, or they start to become obese, or something, right? And when you look at the dosage that you're giving that rat, if you compared that to humans, you would need something ridiculous like 50 cans of, Diet Coke for decades, literally for years and years.
I see.
Like, just to make the point that if you had 50 bottles of water right now, you would drown and you would most likely die. So the poison is in the dosage. You need to understand.
Let me ask you this. Why is it that these kinds of research are even published? Like, what is the actual value of doing something where it's like obviously misleading? It seems like to give, that much, and then, or is it that people just misinterpret it and then run with it?
Yeah. A mixture of both. So animal research in any scientific field holds a lot of weight. It's a very important field of research because we can start to understand the cellular mechanisms and pathways by which an exposure acts on our body. So meaning, if we want to understand how something affects the human body, we can't just willy-nilly go and test it on humans straight away. We need to use rodents, animals, different cell culture to start to understand what mechanisms they might be acting on our body. And sometimes we give ridiculous doses to see what happens when it becomes toxic, right? But then when headlines and the media get hold of it, because they're not scientists, they don't understand how to phrase things.
Right.
So they then end up saying, oh, new study shows aspartame causes cancer.
Right.
And they leave out the fact that it was 200 times a dose in a rat.
Right. So I can see the medical benefit is like, let's see how much it takes until it's poison.
Yeah.
And then the media's like, yo, this shit's poison. That's real interesting. That's super insightful.
Because human research on humans it's very nutrition space to run a study on humans until you've passed the ethical board. So you need to make it clear that you're not giving something that is deliberately harmful to humans. And the way you try and manifest that is by looking at the animal data, the cellular data, the cell culture studies, to then present to the board, look, this is how much it takes to cause an issue. We're not giving anywhere near that. So do you think this study is viable? Then we can start doing research on humans, and then we might see a negative effect. We might see nothing, or we might see a positive.
There was apparently some scientists that believed that drinking diet soda may increase appetite by stimulating hunger hormones, altering sweet taste receptors, and triggering dopamine responses in the brain. Is that what's your take on that?
That's a very common myth as well. The thing is, there have been probably 60, 70 studies looking at people that include 0-calorie, low-energy sweetener drinks in their diet. They don't see any significant changes in their weight, especially when you use it to replace the full sugar version. Because, how often you could argue that the minority of people, if they don't like sweetened drinks, then someone's not just going to randomly start including, diet drinks into their habit. So for example, you're one example, but the reason they exist is to reduce the calories from the sweetened version substitute. right?
Yeah.
So that's the main purpose of it, and the data shows that this whole tricking the brain into you craving more, that's just not substantiated by any controlled data, really.
Doctor, do you drink Diet Coke?
I don't drink Diet Coke, but I drink a low-calorie squash every day, all day.
Squash? What is that?
So squash in the UK is basically like a concentrated juice, and you add it to water, and it makes it taste nice.
Packet? Yes, like Kool-Aid
Soft.
kind of vibes.
It's like soft.
And what do you? By the way, what is your day job, if I can ask?
So currently, I'm finishing my job in psychiatry in the hospital. So I've also done general surgery. I've done geriatric. That's older people medicine, and now I'm going to respiratory medicine at a different hospital. So that's lungs and breathing.
Wow. And are your parents super proud of you? You've accomplished so much, Dr. Ids.
Yeah, I'd say they are. Both my older.
Some hesitancy.
Yeah.
Are they mad that you're not yet a PhD or you are a PhD? What more can you do to make them happy?
The thing is, they want me to carry on down the traditional hospital route.
Oh my God! You can never please these parents.
Yeah, the thing is, both my older brothers are also doctors. So,
oh my God! What a family. Well, man, I really appreciate you calling in.
He really does.
Wait, I have one more.
He's been gloating about this all for like a week.
Yeah, but and you know, because I've been on this, I feel like Diet Coke is all good. I've been saying this for years. I said I'm gonna drink as many fucking Diet Cokes as I want, and everyone's like, "Yo, that shit's bad for you. It's gonna make you fat." Donald Trump once famously said, I've never seen a skinny person drinking Diet Coke," and I thought maybe he's onto something.
Yeah, that's what we call a really poor. Basically, you see two things and you just attribute them because you hold a belief, right? So the same thing can be said about the number of movies that Nicolas Cage appears in on a yearly basis correlates with the amount of people that drown in a swimming pool.
Oh.
So apparently Nicolas Cage causes. No, so that's an example of a rubbish association, right?
Yeah. So Donald Trump, you know. It may not be right.
Well, and also just to let you know that the acceptable daily intake of most sweeteners for you, Ethan, it's up to about 20 to 25 diet drinks a day.
Let's fucking go, dude. So you hear that? That's a challenge. So anyway, Dr. Ids, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for bringing your expertise and knowledge. Dr. Ids on TikTok. I love your account. I love all the videos you make. Is there anything else you want to plug?
No, nothing at the moment. Just my Instagram as well. I started that a year later by my own stupidity. So I need to try and build my audience there as well.
Dr. Ids on Instagram. This is same handle.
Yeah,
there you go. Guys, follow it. He's a great account. We're learning lots.
Thank you, my friend.
So thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate that. God bless you.
Thanks, Doctor.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. There you have it. What an interesting guy. Smart. So sharp.
Ethan loves it.
He's so sharp.
Jesus.
I wish his parents were just more accepting of his career path. Just, you know.
I liked how you tried to kind of dig into the psychology of the dynamic a little bit at the end there.
Yeah, I didn't want to pry too far, but it's funny. But what a sharp guy, man. What a guy.
Also, that